Okay. All right, so we formally started, so thanks everyone for attending again this week. Just a reminder, this is the second part in a two-part series that Daniel Sasajima from CA is leading on advanced reporting. So Daniel, I will now pass it over to you, and you can continue talking through reporting.
Thank you, Rich. Hello, everyone. Rich mentioned a little bit already, but last week we saw how to configure a domain with tables, derived tables, calculated fields, etc. Everything we did was to prepare the domain for the reports and dashboard we are going to build today. Before we continue, just saying one more time, you don't need to do what we did last week for all reports you build. You can build reports on projects and tasks without doing any of that. Just because this is a deep dive, I wanted to go into detail of what you can do on the domain designer, how it works, possible problems you can have like the security file, etc. Most of the time, you will be able to build your reports just using what we are going to see today and the out-of-the-box domain. One other important aspect about the domain is that if you ever need to change it, all changes will be there for any new reports. So let's say these changes we did last week, from now on, any report I want to build using the sets we created can be done without ever going back to the domain. So basically, if you need to touch it, it will be one time. So not something to be worried or scared about. Today I'm going to walk you through the Advanced Reporting and Ad Hoc Builder. This is what most of your reports users will see and use on a daily basis. We are going to create tables, charts, and crosstabs to finally, by the end of the call, create a dashboard with everything in it. And I'm not going to spend too much time on the slides because I want to show you live what can be done and how you build, what are the options. So this is the Advanced Reporting Ad Hoc Builder. We are going to use calculated fields we are going to create. And the use case and our goal today is to have this dashboard with 4 reports and 1 filter that are based on the domain we created last week. Okay, so let's just move to CSM. Okay, so this is my slice where we have the project center. I have several projects here, and last week we configured the domain on the Advanced Reporting for this slice. I still have only the out-of-the-box reports, and to start, the first thing we need to do is go to Actions, create Ad Hoc View, and select a domain. We're going to select Shared Domains, Custom Cloud SM. This is the domain you can edit. So anytime you want to use a set or table or field you have created on a domain, you are going to choose Custom Cloud SM. The other option is to use the Cloud SM domains, Cloud SM. This is the out-of-the-box domain and will never be changed. And this is also where you can use custom fields. So when you use the, let's go back to here, when you use the sync custom fields and send your custom fields to the reports, these fields will be available on this domain. Okay, so today we are going to use the Custom Cloud SM because this is where I have my new tables. Next step is to select the set I am going to use. So now the source are the sets I have created on my domain last week. So if you remember, we created this project center sets. with all information on the new tables, derived tables, and fields we have created. Just move it to the right, so it is in selected fields. All fields come along, subsets, it's everything in there. Here I have a few options. I can use pre-filters, just like I do on the domain. I can create a pre-filter here. The difference is that the pre-filter created here will be visible on the report. And you can delete that filter. You can exclude that filter for a few reports. The filters created in the domain will be there and cannot be removed. Filters created here can be removed from the reports. So I will just create one so you can see it. Let's say approved equals yes. Okay. So just create the filter and you will see it in the reports. The display will allow you to change the labels of fields. So actual cost, for example, I want to call it actual cost instead. Same goes for actual time spent. Again, this is something you can do on the domain. This is something you can do on the report, but you can also do it here. Why would I do all of this here? Why would I create pre-filters and display here? Because I can save this as a topic. When I save as a topic, I will save this configuration, give a name, say topic project center, and let's say just create a new table. When I go back and create a new report, I will have, let's just do this, okay. If I create a new ad hoc view, I can select this topic here, and it will already have the filter, the labels, everything will be there ready to be used. I don't need to do it again every time I use or every time I create a new report. Okay, so this would be the topic, and back here you see I have the approved. It's already there, so it's a pre-filter that is already in the report. Okay. Okay. Forget that. Let's go back and create a new report from scratch without any filter. I just want to show you how it would be. I'll just do the same thing. Select the project center again. And let's start with the table. So, where's my slide? Okay, so this is the dashboard we're going to create. In the first report we will create is this project's portfolio summary. This is a table, and we have some calculated fields we are going to create on the ad hoc builder. So this first thing is we have all the fields here. All I need to do is let me just open the table in a different screen here so I can see which fields I need.
And while you're doing that, Daniel, any questions on the phone? Or again, just a reminder, you can ask a question on WebEx. It's the Q&A feature on WebEx, the WebEx event. I'll be monitoring those. If I can't address them, I'll certainly raise them on the audio line to Daniel.
Okay. First field is project name. So I can just double click the fields here. I have fields in measures. So any number field in the database will go to measure. Anything else will go to fields. So project name is in fields. Status is here, double click. Start date. So I have date, project start, date, project end. And I have timing. Timing is a calculated field. So So let's go back to there. So timing is this delayed 17 days. This is a calculated field we are going to create. So I'll leave this for later. Current actual cost is a number, so it will be here. Actual cost, planned cost, then we have cost deviation. If you remember, this is a calculated field we created in the domain, so it's available here just like any other field. And we have deviation percentage, which is the last column, which is the percentage of this cost deviation on top of the planned cost, and this is also a calculated field. So how do we create new calculated fields here? Here in fields, I have create calculated field. Just hover this little icon here. You have the create calculated field, and you will be able to create any field you want. You have all the available functions here. All of them have instructions, so you know how to use that. And you have all the fields here. One thing that is confusing, you see that I have assigned contact ID and assigned contact ID. If I have the same field on different tables here, you will have the name twice in the list. To know which one is from each table, just look for the order. So for example, let's say, well, assigned contact ID. It will not be here, it can be here now. Taskboard project tickets. Where is this? Oh, it's here on task tickets. So I have assigned contact ID. And I don't see the project team. Oh, it's project tickets is inside here. So here I have the other assigned contact ID. The project tickets is first, then I have task tickets below. So the first one is for the project tickets, the second one is for task tickets. Okay? So just look at the order. You have the tables in the fields list. It will be the same order here. For this formula we are going to create, we are going to use the if. So I'm going to check how many days have passed since the end date, so when the project should have ended. And if it is greater than, well, first, if it is greater than today, I will say this project is on time. So if it's before today, this project is delayed. So I will tell you this is delayed and it's delayed X number of days. So we are going to use if. I can just double click if here. It would bring it to me on the top, or I can type in, it doesn't matter. So if, then I will use another function, elapsed days, same thing. I could just double click here or type in elapsed days. Then I will use a field. Let's just get the field here. It's dates. It's important to say that this is case sensitive. Oops, I have everything. So elapsed days. So for the fields, I have this capital D. If I make it without it, it will not work. I can use like today to get the current date. Then close. So if elapsed days is greater than 0, then on time. So that means if today minus date project ends is greater than 0, that means the date project end is before today, so I am on time. If not, I will say that I'm delayed, so I will use the concatenate, and you say delayed. The concat is just the like the SQL contact, concatenate. So then I will use the round. Okay, let's go one piece at a time. This can be a little confusing, but I'm using this exactly because I want it to be complex. So I'm rounding this number of elapsed days minus today. Elapsed days, date project end today. Actually here I want the opposite. So it's today. And then comma. Project ends 0. Concatenates, delayed, then round. Elapsed days, today 0. Date project end 0. Okay. And then I want to have days, because this is the number of days. Close it here. So if elapsed days, date project ends greater than 0, then else concatenate, delayed, round, 0 days. I think it's correct. So I'll call this project timing. Okay. If your formula is correct, you'll see this validation successful. Okay, so if the number of days is greater than 0, I'm on time. If not, I will get the difference in number of days from today until the date the project should have ended, and concatenate it with delayed X number days. Okay, create fields, double click, and I will add this project timing. So delayed 29 days, on time, delayed 165 days. And that's it. The round is just so I have always an integer number. Okay, this was a little confusing, so any question on this? No?
Again,
Okay.
just remind everybody, feel free to ask a question online at any point. I'm monitoring it and keeping an eye on making sure everybody is good.
Okay, so again, the idea here is to show you a complex situation. That's why I have created this one. So we can also create very simple calculated fields. For example, this other one that we need to create is the deviation percentage. It's actually a calculated measure because it's a number. So it's deviation percentage. And it is just the cost deviation where is the You see, I have tons of fields here because I have added the all the fields when I created this domain, and I moved all the fields to the sets. This is something you will usually not do just because it gets confusing like this. I have lots of fields here. So where is my cost deviation? Oh, it may be easier to just type in costs deviation divided by planned cost. What's the name of the field here? Planned cost. Validate. That's all I need to do. Okay, so the field is created. On summary calculation, because this is a measure, I can select what will be the default summary calculation. So when I have totals, how am I going to calculate the total for these fields? I can make it sum, I can make it mode, median, max, whatever you want. Sum is the default. I will leave it as the default. Okay. So deviation percentage is here. Just add it. I have the deviation percentage here. Now we need to format all this. So for example, dates. I can use different date formats. For the projects, I usually leave it as date only. I don't add the time information. I will leave it like that, but I will rename the column. So I will have it as start date. Same here, I can rename any columns I want. Again, this could have been done before on the domain, or when I create my, when I select my domain I am going to use, I can create the labels. Project name, timing, planned cost, actual cost, cost deviation. Oops. So this is the start date. To percentage. Then I have it in percentages. The costs, I can have it as currency. Same thing here. And here. Okay, so I have it pretty much done. The only thing I still need to do is to format the colors and column width. And this I will do on the report itself, not in the ad hoc view. I will show you later. One other thing I want to add here are some filters. So I want to have a filter by project name. On the filters, you have all of these filter types. Is one-off, is not one-off. So you have a list and can select what you want. So I want all of them. You can also have is not one-off, it's the opposite, equals, not equals, contains, not contain. I think these are pretty much self-explanatory. Starts with, does not start with, ends with, does not end with. Okay, so this is my first filter, and the second filter I will create based on status. same thing. I will use this one off, and I just want the painting started. I don't want it closed. Or I can do is not one off, and it's not closed. I think this is better. Okay. If you have several filters, you can also use a custom filter expression and make it, for example, A or B and C, like is in the example there. Or if I want starts, closed, or I don't know, start date is after today, you can create different filters and use this custom expression. Just type in the expression based on the letter you have on the front of the filter. So this is A, B, and you can build your expression. So now I have only my open tickets, projects, I'm sorry. And this is done. I will just save it there, save the ad hoc view.
And Daniel, while you're saving it, one question came in, and I'm not sure I understand the context, but the question was, what about a global percentage?
A global percentage. I'm not sure I understand that. Maybe okay, maybe the person is talking about something we can do on the cross tabs. Let's just cancel this. And for example, in my total project costs, how much this represents in a global percentage of my total spending planet? Is this what you're asking?
Exactly, like an average. Can you do an average of all those records, or you know, something like that?
Or say like project 1 is using like 25% of my budget. Project 2 is using 5% of my budget. If this is what you are asking, I will show you this later on crosstabs. If this is not what you are asking, please ask again. So give me more details. Okay, so I'll just save this as portfolio overview. And you can save it inside different folders or containers. I always save ad hoc views on ad hoc components, dashboards on dashboards, domains on domains, and reports on reports, just for organization. Okay, save it. I could also use the save ad hoc view and report. So the only difference is it will also create a new report based on this ad hoc view. So this is the report. It adds the report on the end of the name, and I can just select the folder reports and save it. Now I have an ad hoc view and a report based on that. If I refresh my list here, I have the portfolio overview ad hoc view. Report's not saved yet. Now I have the report. Okay. What else do we have here? I can export these to any of these formats. So you can export from the ad hoc view, you can export from the report, you can schedule and have it sent to an email address. There are several different ways to do that. Back and forward, undo and redo, just like any other system. This one will reset the report to the last saved state. That means if it's a brand new ad hoc view, it will clear everything you did. If it's a ad hoc view you are changing, it will go back to whatever it was when you last changed it, last saved that. So let's just add 2 fields here. If I use this, it will just go back to what it was before. Okay. This one will switch groups and columns. I don't have groups here, but if I did, let's say I have project name here. So I can use this to switch groups and columns. AZ will just set the sort order. I can also go here and use this for sorting. You can use any field you want for sorting. Just add the field here and say if it's ascending or descending. It will, you see it's changing there. You can have several levels here, one up, one down. That's okay. Here it doesn't make sense. I'll just leave it like that. Okay, following here, it's just hiding the bars. So layout and title. This will change the type of report I'm creating. We'll see this later. So I have charts and crosstab. And this is an important one. I have sample data, full data, and no data. Sample data will bring, this is important when you are working with tickets, because you may have like 100,000 tickets on your system. If you are working with full data, it will load everything for each one of the fields you add to the report. So this can take a long time. Also, it may take so long time that you may go into a timeout problem, and it's just because you're using full data. So using sample data to build your reports is always recommended. No data will help and make it faster, because the system will not try to search for the data to show you something. So you will be able to add fields pretty quickly, but you are not going to see anything. So sample data is what I use. Okay. A little bit more here. I showed your sorting. You can add a summary. So it's going to count in this case, or for example, in this case, I can just sum everything. I can change my calculation. So I can have range, I can have median, count, whatever you want. So like I want to have an average, I have an average cost. So this is the summary. Labels, remove from table, create filter, and move. You can just move the fields around. So detailed data, totals data will show me only the totals. Details in totals will show me what I had before. This will just automatically add summaries to all of the columns. Okay. And just detailed, back to what it was. I can give it a name, portfolio, overview. And now that I have a report and ad hoc view, when I save the ad hoc view, okay, it's just telling me I have made changes on my filters, so ignore that. When I save my ad hoc view, it will tell me this will affect these reports. So when I change the ad hoc view, I don't have to save the report again, because this will update the report for me. Okay, so now if I open this report, okay, you see that I have here my portfolio overview, which was one change that I did just before saving. Okay, things I can do here. If you click the header, you'll see this toolbar here, and you can change the columns. It's recommended to do this here, because if you change it on the ad hoc view, when you open the report, this may be a little messy, because the report will be built based on the fixed width for each one of the columns, and if you change the width on the ad hoc view, it just gets confusing. So better do this here after you have saved your ad hoc view. So same thing here. I want to have this narrow. Same thing for the date. Just adjust the reports as you wish. I just wanted to fit my screen so we can see all the columns. Okay, good. If we look back to our reference here, see that these three columns, timing, cost deviation, deviation percentage, they have colors on. This is done using formatting. I can just click here. I have this option on the toolbar. I go to formatting, conditional formatting. Here I can only select detail rows, so I can add a new condition. And in this case, I will say starts with delayed. I want it to be bold, I want it to be red and red. And I will do it does not start with delayed. I also want it to be bold, but now I want it to be just gray and green. Okay. Done. This is all you need to do. You can do the same thing here. Conditional formatting. Here it's greater than 0. I think it's greater than is green. And less than or equal is red. Okay, I can also navigate the columns here, so I can go to the next column. Now I'm looking to deviation percentage, greater than 0, green, less than or equal to 0 is red. On basic formatting, I can also format the headings. So if you want to have a different formatting on the header of a column or of any column, you can do that. Okay, let's hit OK, and I have my formatting done. Let's see if I have to do something else here. I don't think so. Okay, this is all we need to do. Now I can just save it. Again, I can export it to any of these formats. And remember, we created filters for these reports. Here, I see the filters in this icon. Just click Options, I see the filters, and can select whatever I want. Okay? Done. I have my first report done. We can move on to the next. Any questions?
Nothing else on the Q&A. Anything on the phone, or it is #6 or #6 to unmute your line if anyone has a question on the phone.
Okay. Then we have these two charts. I have spent too much time on the first one, so it will be only one, just because they are exactly the same thing. The only difference is this, I'm using the planned time and planned cost, and this, I'm using the actual time and actual costs, but it's actually the same report. One thing you can do here, for example, if you are using the same filters, or if you're using the same calculated fields, you can just use the same ad hoc view and use the save as. So I'll just remove all of these. And I save time on selecting fields, creating calculated fields, and creating filters. I will move this to charts. On charts, I have several different types of charts. So you have columns. These are pretty much the same as any chart you will use on Excel or Access or any other reporting solution. Line is the same. These spiders will allow you to see in a different format, but the same information, same structure as column and bar. If you go to the community, you will see a document where I talk about the spiders, the bubble, and the double pie, low-level pie. So I have a few more details on this in the communities. The dual axis and multi-axis allows you to have several measures with different scales. So it's better for some type of information. Time series. So these lines and areas are the same as these. The difference is here you can use only if the horizontal axis is a date. You can use dates here, but these will look better because it considers the date span. So if you have information for the 1st, the 2nd, and the 10th of January, it will not show you 1st, 2nd, and 10th in a sequence. It will show you 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and all of the days until the 10th. So it's better for time. What we are using now is the bubble. Just click here, it will change the format there. You are not seeing because I have no measures there. The bubble requires me to add 3 measures, and I'm using the actual cost, actual time, and resources. I want to know how many people is allocated to this project. I will use user ID. Why user ID? I could use any of these information on the ITPM allocation. Allocation is what is going to tell me who are the people related to this project. I can use any because I'm using a count here, not a sum. If I use count all, I will count every record. If I use count distinct, I will count distinct records. So user ID in this case will count distinct users. Since you cannot have a user related to the project more than one time, it doesn't make any difference. And last thing I need to do is to add the project name here. Oh, didn't go. I add the details of the columns, and I have my charts done. Okay, so this is all I have to do. I can rename it to whatever, actual cost, time, resources. And I can use a save ad hoc view as. Ignore that. Portfolio. Actual cost. Time. Resources. Okay. I'm done. I forgot to create my report. Ignore that again. Save. Okay. So I just use it, the same structure, same filters, and I have a new report done. I will do this again, but now the report one is the cost, I think. Yeah, the project balance. So this will tell me how I'm looking in terms of cost. And let's just build this. This requires a new calculated field, balance, where we use actual cost minus and cost. Okay. I will use this measure and change my chart type to this. And I'm done. And all my projects are negative, so this is actually planned costs minus actual cost. Okay, now it's correct. Okay, save this and create a new report. Balance. And we can go ahead and create the dashboard. Do we have any other questions?
No other questions at this point.
Okay.
One thing I'll just mention. Well, go ahead and create a dashboard. I'll sort of mention it in closing because there's a couple really cool things I think you showed that were worth highlighting again.
Okay. So let's just create a new dashboard. This is pretty simple. I can just go here on shared where I saved everything. Under reports, I have my 3 reports. So let's add the overview on the top. Let's just drag and drop. You can resize it. So, okay, let's make it fit. On the options, I can have it as a proportional size. In my opinion, it works better. I can right-click and hide the scroll bars if I don't want them. I will use this one here. I will not be very concerned about the formatting now, just because of the time. And the balance. Oops. Oh, this is the balance. I forgot to change the title here. And if you are building this on a screen without zooming in like I did, it will be easier as well. Okay, so last thing I want to add here is a filter. Because all of my reports have the same filters, I can go into special content, multiple reports control, and I will have the filters here. If I add the project name filter here, for example, this filter will be valid for all reports in the dashboard. Okay, so let's just preview this. So this would be my final dashboard. You see I have all my projects here. If I change this to be like this or this or this, then it will update all charts at the same time, all reports at the same time. Now I have only this. Okay? So I have to here, to here, to here. One of them, this one is probably closed, and it's filtered out by the status. Okay, back to the dashboard designer. Under options, I have the title and fixed size. So fixed size will allow me to define a fixed size of the report in pixels. It may work if you are building this dashboard for a specific monitor or a specific screen. I like to use the proportional size because it will adjust to the screen I'm using. But it depends on what you are doing. Save, just save, nothing special on that. Here it's important to talk about the single report controls. These are the filters that exist in only one report. So just like I have these filters here, I would have filters there. In dashboard controls, I will have submit, reset, print view. I can add the text label, just things for the screen so you can use it. I don't think there is much to talk about the dashboards. It's basically that. And the dashboard's done. Just save it. Rich, there was something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, I hope this was helpful to everyone. I know we're sort of getting close to ending time, but there's a couple simple things you showed that I didn't know about, especially the formatting on the report, which is simple to do and really intuitive. So that was helpful for me, and also seeing some of these other chart types actually in use. I of course know they existed, but I didn't actually see how something like a bubble chart. So that's nice to see. So I think it's good just to show, I think for many of the things Daniel showed today, while he did a lot of work to, edit the domain last week and a couple things for calculated fields, a lot of these other concepts, if you're brand new, are still immediately useful. And as you, get more and more skills on advanced reporting, these are really great things to keep an eye on as well.
Okay, I know we have about 3 minutes. I just want to show the crosstabs real quickly because we had a question. So let's say planned costs. This is my measures. I can build a new measure based on percentage. So percentage cost. I will use the percent here. Percent off will allow me to select a field. In this case, is my planned cost, and say the level. Level can be column group, column total, row group, row total. In this case, it will be row group, I think. I always make confusion about this, but I think it's row group. I'll show you the difference. Okay, row group. So 15,000 is 15.35% of my total considering all projects. Okay, so the row group means I will get the group of rows and calculate the percentage of each row in the group. Column group is the opposite. I will get the columns. Just because I can have this project name here. So you see now I have 100% for everyone. If I use column group, I will have the correct percentage. And you can have always, let's say, tasks. I don't know. I'll just get task as an example. You can have columns and groups. So for this row group, I have 100%, but here I may not have 100%. If we make this like that, now it makes sense. So for this project, I have all these tasks that have percentages on them. So it just divided equally by each one of the tasks. Okay, so here is where you can have this, and crosstabs are a very powerful report, and I would say you should look into it and try some things. It allows you to do a lot of things, and I didn't measure my time well, and I was planning to show some things here, and we are out of time. But there are some documents on the community about building crosstabs, some reports you can build, and if you have any question, post the question to the community. I will build some additional documents on that. Okay. Any more questions?
Anything else on WebEx? But I do thank everyone for attending. Just a couple of reminders that this is recorded. We'll be posting this recording to the community site, usually about 48 hours is what I do, as well as the presentation deck that Daniel showed. So I definitely think this is a presentation that you'll want to refer to back many times to make sure you understand all these different concepts. And I know there's a lot of detail here that you can't absorb sort of on first watch. You know, so it'll be helpful to see again. Okay. Daniel, any last comments?
Nope. Thank you, everyone, and hope it has been helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thanks, everyone, for joining. I'll hang around just in case there's any last comments.